Welcome to my channel. Today, we will tell you a scary story about the pharaohs in Arabic. So sit back, relax and enjoy the show. Once upon a time in the land of the pharaohs, there lived a powerful ruler named Pharaoh Akhenaten. He was known for his strange appearance, with a big head and thin arms and legs. Some people even said he looked like an alien. Despite this, he was a great leader who ruled over Egypt for 12 years. During his reign, he made some radical changes to the Egyptian religion. He got rid of all the gods except one, Aten, the sun disk. This made many people angry, especially his own father, Pharaoh Amenhotep III, who was a huge fan of Amen, the chief god of the Egyptian pantheon. The pharaoh's father was so mad at him that he took the throne away from his son and gave it to his other son, Tutankhamun. That's right. Akhenaten wasn't even allowed to pass the throne to his own daughter, a 6-year-old girl who would later become the famous Queen Nefertiti. So Akhenaten, his wife and his daughters had to leave the palace and move to a small village near the desert. There they lived in a simple house made of mud bricks. It had only one room where the family slept, ate and did everything else. The walls were decorated with paintings of Aten, the sun disk, and the family's favorite activities, such as hunting gazelles and riding horses. But behind the cheerful pictures, there was a dark secret hiding. The floor of the room was always wet and smelly. And whenever anyone stepped on it, they felt a cold breeze. At first, nobody paid much attention to this strange phenomenon. They just thought it was because the house was old and poorly built. But then things started to get worse. Sometimes at night, the family heard strange noises coming from under the floor. They sounded like footsteps, whispers, and screams. They also noticed that their food and water were getting poisoned. Their fruit tasted sour, their bread had worms, and their wine smelled like dirty socks. And every time someone drank it, they got very sick and couldn't sleep for days. One day, Pharaoh Akhenaten went to the palace in Cairo to see his father and ask for help. He told his dad what was happening to him and his family, and he asked him to perform a ritual to get rid of the evil spirits. But Pharaoh Amenhotep III didn't believe him. He thought his son was crazy and making up stories to get more power. He also didn't like that Akhenaten had changed the religion and put Aten, the sun disk, in front of Amun, the chief god. So, he ignored his pleas and sent him back home with nothing but scorn and mockery. Akhenaten was heartbroken and desperate. He loved his family and he didn't want them to die or suffer anymore. He tried everything he could think of, but nothing worked. One day, he went to the palace library and found an ancient book that talked about a secret passageway under the city. According to the book, there was a tunnel that connected the palace of the pharaoh with the house of the sun, where the priests of Aten kept sacred relics and treasures. Akhenaten thought maybe there was something in the house of the sun that could save him and his family. So, he decided to dig under his house and find the entrance to the secret tunnel. He called his wife and daughters and told them about his plan. They were scared but excited to try something new. Together they dug under the floor with bare hands and feet. They didn't have any tools or weapons, so it was very hard and slow work. But after a few days, they found a hole and climbed through it. On the other side, they found themselves in a dark and narrow tunnel. The air was thick and heavy, and they could barely breathe. They had to crawl on their stomachs and avoid touching the walls because they were covered with poisonous snakes and scorpions. After what felt like hours, they reached the end of the tunnel and saw a big door made of gold. On the door was a symbol of Aten, the sun disk, and a warning written in hieroglyphs. It said whoever enters this house must have pure heart and hands or they will be cursed forever. Akhenaten knew he had nothing to lose. He had already lost his kingdom and his dignity. So, he walked towards the door, touched the symbol of Aten and pushed it open. Behind the door, they found themselves in a huge chamber. The walls were covered with precious stones that glittered in the dark. In the middle of the room stood a tall statue of Aten, the sun disk, and around it were piles of gold, silver and jewels. Akhenaten and his family were stunned by what they saw. They had never seen so much wealth and beauty in their lives. But then suddenly, the ground started shaking and the walls started closing. They were trapped in a tomb. Akhenaten panicked and started running around the chamber, but there was no escape. The walls were too smooth and high to climb. He turned to his wife and daughters and hugged them tightly. He told them he loved them and was sorry for everything he had done. Then he kissed them goodbye and closed his eyes. Suddenly, a bolt of lightning struck the statue of Aten, and the whole room was filled with light. When the light faded, Akhenaten and his family were gone. No one knows what happened to them. Some say they were turned into mummies by the magic of the sun god. Others say they were buried alive under the weight of the collapsing walls. But there is one thing we know for sure: they never came back. From that day on, the House of the Sun became a secret, and no one dared to enter it again. Only archaeologists have found it by accident and uncovered the mystery of the missing pharaoh and his family. What do you think happened to them? Let us know in the comments. If you enjoyed this scary story about the pharaohs, please like and share it with your friends. Also check out our other videos that we think you might enjoy. Thank you for watching and see you next time. Now let's tell you another scary story about the pharaohs. Once upon a time in the land of the Black, there lived a powerful pharaoh named Ramses II. He was known for his bravery and strength. He conquered many lands and built many monuments. He also had many wives and children, more than any other pharaoh before him. But one day, his firstborn son, the crown prince, died. His name was Ammon, and he was the heir to the throne. He had been prepared for his role since he was a baby. He learned how to read and write hieroglyphs. He learned how to hunt and fight. He even had his own palace and servants. But despite all the privileges and luxuries, he was a humble and kind boy. He loved his people and wanted to make them happy. He also loved his father and respected him as a ruler, but not as a person. You see, Ramses II was a tyrant and a dictator. He ruled with an iron fist and crushed anyone who opposed him. He also had a strange obsession with immortality. He believed he could cheat death by building huge statues of himself and burying them with treasure and slaves. That's why when his son died, he had an idea. He wanted to bring him back to life and make him immortal like him. So he ordered his best scientists and magicians to build a machine that could resurrect the dead. They worked for years and finally finished it. It was a giant pyramid made of copper and gold, powered by solar energy. It had levers, pulleys and gears that controlled the flow of electricity. It also had a sarcophagus in the middle that could keep a mummy warm and alive. Then Ramses II brought his son's mummy to the pyramid and activated the machine. Lightning struck the pyramid and shook the ground. The mummy started moving and breathing. Ammon was resurrected. But something was wrong. His eyes were glowing red, and he had a big scar on his face. He looked like an evil spirit or a monster. Ramses II was scared and tried to run away, but Ammon grabbed him by the leg and pulled him back. He said, "Ramses, you are the reason I am like this. You abandoned me and forgot about me. You turned your back on your people and enslaved them. Now I will do the same to you. I will rule over Egypt and make you my slave." And with that, he stabbed his own father with a golden dagger and killed him. Then he took the throne and became the new pharaoh. But he didn't rule for long. Soon he went mad with power and greed and lost his humanity. He became like his father, a tyrant and a monster. And that's why until today, we don't have any record of Ammon's face. All the statues and paintings of him have a big scar covering his left eye and part of his mouth. Some say it's a reminder of his tragic fate. Others say it's a warning for those who seek immortality. But we say it's a lesson for those who forget their roots. Because no matter how powerful or rich you are, if you ignore your humanity and your compassion, you will turn into a monster and lose everything. Thank you for listening. If you like this scary story about the pharaohs, please like and share it with your friends. Also check out our other videos that we think you might enjoy. See you next time.